As usual, no use of nuclear weapons.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jaden Small Underpair. Today I'm using our new sealer. We're at 389 degrees. We'll be making bird seed today. And let's package some crap.
And a reservist force of 2.8 million, India can call upon the same pool of manpower to prosecute any war. India also possesses a formidable air force
13 cylinders today for you,
aircraft,
and
804 attack aircraft,
as we
and a
do.
huge fleet of surveillance and transport helicopters that numbers at 720. India, however, suffers from a lack of attack helicopters with only 15 in its inventory. This may prove to be a crippling deficiency in any attempt to combat a Chinese-Russian incursion over its mountainous northern and eastern borders. India does, however, maintain a force of 4,400 combat tanks, of which about half are modern or semi-modern T-90s and the indigenous Arjun main battle tank. India is also equipped with a staggering number of towed artillery, 4,100 pieces, meant to make it impossible for the Chinese rivals to penetrate Indian defenses.
Come out of here. See, there it is.
Its naval forces
Take out that one. There it is. And it's done. Packaged real nice. There's all the ones I've done so far. Let's continue.
Next up is China. China is the most populous nation on Earth and maintains an active duty force of 2.2 million with a reservist force of 510,000. With an air force totaling 1,125 fighter aircraft, 1,527 attack aircraft, and 281 attack helicopters, China has a serious advantage in the air over India. Yet China's pilots are undertrained compared to their Western counterparts and forced to fly under strict supervision from ground controllers, a huge liability in fast-paced modern air combat. China also has a force of 7,700 tanks and 6,246 towed artillery, backed up by 2,000 self-propelled artillery, mostly ballistic missile launchers, which would pose a significant threat to Indian and American forces. On the sea, China maintains a significant force with one test aircraft carrier not rated for combat operations, 50 light frigates, 29 destroyers, 39 corvettes, and 73 submarines. While larger in number than Indian naval forces, China lacks the ability to maintain long-term logistical support for any deployed ships, meaning only a small number of them could operate far from China's shores for longer than a few weeks. Underpinning China's military might is also the fact that its military is severely affected by systemic corruption, so much so that China's own leadership doubts the ability of the Chinese military to fight and win a major war against a near-peer power such as India. On to Russia. Russia has the world's second most powerful military, with an active duty force of just over 1 million personnel and a reserve force of 2.5 million. With 818 fighter aircraft and 1,416 attack aircraft, Russia's air forces are formidable, but would be severely hampered in war by a lack of reconnaissance assets. As one Russian military analyst put it, we have long-range, sometimes precision-guided weapons, but we don't always know where the target is. On the ground, though, Russia maintains the world's largest tank fleet, numbering over 20,000. However, this figure should be taken with a grain of salt, as the number includes many thousands of Soviet-era tanks that have long been decommissioned and would need weeks to bring into service, and even once operational, would be decades behind in capability, firepower, and protection versus modern tanks. Russia's naval fleet has severely atrophied since the collapse of the Soviet Union, but it still maintains one aircraft carrier, 9 frigates, 13 destroyers, 78 corvettes, and 62 submarines. Though Russian vessels are, on the whole, aging and plagued by maintenance issues, they are still armed with very modern and capable long-range missiles, making them a force to be feared. And finally, the world's chief military power, the United States of America. The U.S. enters the conflict on India's side with an active duty force of 1.3 million personnel and 800,000 reserve personnel. With 1,962 fighter aircraft and 2,830 multi-role aircraft, the U.S. has almost double the air power of Russia or China. Its naval aviation forces alone are on par with either nation. Its fleet of 973 attack helicopters ensure that ground offensives are well covered, and it is rare that an American infantryman finds himself without fire support. A proponent of blitzkrieg warfare, America also maintains a fleet of 5,900 tanks, almost all of them modern Abrams variants, and 30...
I'm going to buy that electric ball splitter or freight. Can I get a free tool?
China.